Hi, everyone. I'm Kathy Carlton Willis, and I'm known as God's Grin Gal. Currently, we're going through my book, The Grin Gal's Guide to Wellbeing. And this week, we're talking about the chapter on exposing excuses. And one of the things I've noticed, whether I'm coaching writers or people that are seeking well-being, whether it's for body, soul, or spirit, is that all of us can tend to have excuses when it comes to things that we're not meeting our goals on. We can easily get into a victim mentality. We think that I'm a victim of my circumstances. And those kinds of excuses can really derail us or hold us back from getting to the goals that God wants us to achieve. So, as you're listening to this, I'm presenting it from the mindset of well being, but honestly, you could use the same lesson for any type of a circumstance where you're blaming something outside of your control for getting to the goals that you have in mind. So here we go. This chapter, I'm telling you, it's one of the things that will really empower you with the resources that God has for you because He is equipping you. And the book has probably 3 times as much material as I will cover in this video session. So be sure to read the chapter 2. So it's called Exposing Excuses. It's time to face up to our excuses. Anytime we don't address what is holding us back, we delay experiencing long-lasting victories. We might cringe when we admit our reasons for not making the best choices for our health. Usually, our excuses reveal some very human struggles and weaknesses. Thankfully, we have a God who shows himself strong through our weakness. Aren't you glad about that? I'm the poster child when it comes to having nutrition and fitness obstacles. I sure have. Frequently, those who read about my weight loss success, I've lost 70 pounds now, say they wish they could achieve the same outcome. And then they offer up reasons, or are they excuses, for why they can't do it. That's when I tell them I used to delay my well being by stating those same excuses. And if I can overcome them, so can they. I have several diseases that challenge optimal quality of life. Maybe you do too. I've had more than 20 surgeries that left me more impaired than repaired. Side effects and symptoms are hard to fight, let alone endure. And the fatigue makes it hard to be motivated to move more when all I want to do is move less. I'm not telling you about my medical issues to gain your pity, though. I want my story to assure you that I understand what it's like to have challenges outside of our control that make this quest for well-being difficult. But we'll learn in this session, difficult does not mean impossible. That's the one thing, if you can only get one thing today, difficult does not mean impossible. You will notice in the verses from this chapter that you are not alone in taking on what God wants you to take on. But these passages do not promise it will be easy. Anything worth having is worth doing, though, right? Despite the difficulties along the way. This is one of the verses that makes me grin every time I read it. It's Proverbs 26:13. It says, "The lazy person claims, there's a lion on the road. Yes, I'm sure there's a lion out there." I always love reading this excuse in the Bible. Who says God doesn't have a sense of humor? It would have been impossible for a lion to be on the streets of that walled city. So that's pretty funny. So look at our excuses in the light of these concepts that we're talking about, and you can determine if they're simply imaginary lions in the road keeping you from going through the door to freedom. Here's another one, Jeremiah 32:27. Jeremiah says, "O sovereign Lord, you made the heavens and earth by your strong hand and powerful arm. Nothing is too hard for you." That's Jeremiah 32:17. And then in 27, God says, "I am the Lord, the God of all the peoples of the world. Is anything too hard for me?" Look at your excuse list. What makes those things hard for you? What makes them too hard for God? Make a list of the times God did the impossible in your life and keep the list handy as a reminder of what He's capable of doing. Then, of course, there's the verse that everyone quotes, Philippians 4:13, for I can do everything through Christ who gives me strength. Now, sometimes that verse gets misquoted or it becomes a promise that God never meant it to be. Mainly, I want us to remember that God is the one who gives us strength. And when I do what I do through Christ, I can do everything that He wants me to do. If God is in it, is there anything that I can't do? Or maybe we should look at it this way. There are things we can't do, but there is nothing that Christ can't do. So the next time you're tempted to say something on your well-being plan is impossible, flip the script and say that it is God possible. Isaiah 41:10 says, don't be afraid, for I am with you. Don't be discouraged, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will hold you up with my victorious right hand. So how can you overcome fear and discouragement? It's through God's strength. He will help you. Part of His work equips you to overcome your obstacles. Why do you think He wants to help you get past the things that are holding you back? We know that He does. So what is holding you back? Moving forward often requires learning from the past to get past it. What are you allowing to hold you back from well-being? It's time to get real and identify your challenges. When I faced my excuses, I asked myself, why do I think these reasons somehow give me permission not to try? Do you know the difference between a reason and an excuse? An excuse is what others give for not trying. A reason is how I might label my weakness to get around doing it because, it sounds so legit. When someone else has it, it's an excuse. When I have the same excuse, it's reason. It's a reasonable reason. You can hopefully tell that I'm being snarky. Obviously, all of us that offer up excuses, we need to try more and not give ourselves an out so easily. To overcome excuses, quit rationalizing and procrastinating. Identify and address the issues that keep you from eating and exercising for health. Or maybe it's a well-being issue of your soul or your spirit. Or maybe you're offering up an excuse for something even different. Whatever it is, ask God to help you with it. Here's a list of the excuses regarding eating and exercise that some of my friends helped me come up with. It just isn't a good time. Too much stress is going on. My health conditions or medications cause the weight gain, so I might as well not even try. Or I don't like to sweat. Why should I do that? It's just too expensive. I'm too busy to take time for myself. So what is on your list? Maybe you could relate to one of those, or you have something different. In the book, I share 4 ways I progressed despite the obstacles that I had. Be sure to read the chapter to find out what made a difference to me, and I'll give you a hint, it's on page 54. But let's move on and talk about God control. This all started with the will to do it, and then I knew I could figure out a way. But it wasn't self-control. It was yielding all of that, the excuses, and even the I do it myself attitude for God control. I'm able to do the things that physical therapists and surgeons said I'd never be able to do. So I know it's possible for you to figure out a way to face your excuses and customize a plan. Be brave. That's why I call us well-being warriors. Be all in. Don't let the obstacles become roadblocks or dead ends to your success. See them as merely speed bumps or detours, but you can still get to the destination. Here's some homework. Make your list of excuses for why you can't do this, or maybe it's just too hard to do. Make your list of reasons and excuses, and then make a reminder list of previous God possible examples of things that shouldn't have happened, but because of God, they did turn out okay. And then look at that first list again, the list of excuses, and ask God to help you overcome those so that they are not holding you back. You might have an obstacle, but they're a speed bump or a detour. They're not a roadblock or a dead end. Here's a health check for you. For your body, ask yourself, what exercise can I modify to deal with my physical obstacles? For your soul, what fear or discouragement does God want to help me overcome this week? And for your spirit, how do I feel closer to God as I see Him as my strength giver? Remember, this is a quest, not a quick fix. Difficult does not mean impossible. Hopefully, that gives you some hope to hang on to during this well-being journey. I'll talk to you again next time. Bye-bye.